When financial pressure surrounds you and you feel like every door has been closed, that's the moment you must understand that prayer is not your weakness. It's your weapon. The world may tell you to hustle harder, borrow more, or give up hope. But heaven calls you to kneel, to speak, and to connect with divine power. Prayer in hard times is not about empty words or routine rituals. It is the declaration of faith that you are not limited by what you see. It is the moment you shift your trust from the system of man to the economy of heaven, where lack cannot exist and where provision flows without limit. When you open your mouth in prayer, you are not talking into the air. You are commanding divine order to be restored in your life. When you pray about your finances, you are telling your problems that you have a greater authority backing you. The bills may be stacked. The debts may look impossible. But your prayer invites a supernatural force that can rearrange circumstances, touch hearts, and open new channels of blessing. Every time you pray, you build a spiritual bridge between your faith and your future. You are not begging for help. You are accessing your inheritance as a child of divine favor. You don't have to understand how God will do it. You just have to believe that He will. Prayer begins to shift the unseen before the visible changes appear. And while the world counts your lack, heaven counts your faith. Many people pray with fear, but you must pray with confidence. When you approach divine power, come as a believer who knows that heaven listens. Don't whisper your worries, declare your victory. When you say, I will not lack, you are not denying your reality, you are redefining it. Faith-filled words are seeds. And every time you pray, you plant something powerful into the spiritual soil. The result may not appear overnight, but just as a seed breaks open underground, before it breaks through the surface, your provision is already forming in places you cannot see. Keep praying, because every moment of faith is preparing your harvest. Prayer also changes your perspective. It allows you to see beyond the moment of struggle and glimpse the vision of abundance waiting ahead. When your mind is filled with fear, you cannot think clearly. But prayer brings peace that silences confusion. Suddenly, you stop focusing on the problem and start focusing on the provider. You begin to see that financial increase is not just about money, it's about mindset. You can be surrounded by little, but think like someone who has more than enough. And when you think that way, opportunities begin to gravitate toward you because faith attracts favor. In the middle of hardship, prayer reminds you that you are not alone. It opens your spiritual eyes to realize that you are not fighting this battle with human strength. You are surrounded by divine help that never fails. The same force that sustains the universe can sustain your wallet, your business, and your home. When you pray, you draw power from the highest authority, and that authority can turn a closed door into an open one, a dry season into a harvest, and an empty account into overflowing supply. Never underestimate the power that comes when you pray sincerely and consistently. Prayer doesn't just move heaven, it moves you. It refines your priorities, purifies your motives, and positions your heart to receive blessings the right way. Sometimes The answer to your financial struggle is not more money, it's more wisdom. Prayer sharpens your discernment so you stop wasting and start building. It opens your mind to divine strategies that others overlook. While others complain, you will receive direction. While others fear, you will find courage. That's the transformation prayer brings. It shifts you from being a victim of circumstances to being a victor of faith. Every person who prays in hard times must understand that the atmosphere responds to faith. When you pray with expectation, you attract divine energy. When you pray with doubt, you block it. So every time you open your mouth to pray, do it as if everything depends on it. Speak words of power, not panic. Declare that your finances are healing, your opportunities are multiplying, and your resources are coming into alignment. The same power that multiplies bread and fish can multiply your income, your creativity, and your influence. Your prayer life determines your provision life. When you make prayer your priority, you make prosperity your portion. It's not about magic, it's about spiritual alignment. The moment you decide to put your faith first, you activate a law of divine reciprocity. Heaven begins to respond to your words, and everything that was delayed starts moving toward you. It might come as an idea, a connection, a promotion, or a business breakthrough, but it will come. Prayer draws it out of the unseen into the visible world. Never underestimate the time you spend in quiet faith. When you pray, even in tears, heaven records your words. Every whisper of faith echoes through eternity and returns to you as blessing. Sometimes you may not see results right away, but prayer is like rain. It softens the hard ground so that your harvest can grow. When you pray about finances, you are watering the seeds of your destiny. Each prayer brings you closer to the moment of breakthrough. Even when life shakes your confidence, return to the posture of prayer. Do not stop. Do not surrender. Speak life over your finances, your family, your business, your dreams. You may be in the middle of lack, but you serve the source of abundance. Every word you speak in prayer has power to shift your situation, and what you declare in faith today can become the miracle you hold tomorrow. When financial pressure grips your life, and it feels like every step forward leads to a dead end, prayer becomes your strongest weapon. It is not a last resort for the desperate. It is the first line of action for the faithful. Prayer is not weakness. It is the declaration that your circumstances do not define your future. Every time you pray, you are inviting supernatural intervention into your situation. You are connecting with a power far greater than the challenges you face, a power that can multiply your resources, open closed doors, and provide solutions that no human mind can create. In the midst of struggle, prayer is your anchor and your launching pad toward breakthrough. Prayer transforms your perspective on lack. While your eyes see scarcity and your mind worries about bills, prayer elevates your vision to see divine possibilities. It shifts your focus from what is missing to what is available through faith. When you pray consistently, you start noticing opportunities, creative solutions, and guidance that were invisible before. Prayer teaches you that money and provision are not confined to natural limitations. It reminds you that God's economy is limitless. And when you align your words and your faith with His will, no situation is too big and no shortage too severe to overcome. Faith-filled prayer changes your words, which in turn changes your reality. The words you speak carry power. They create pathways for provision. When you say, "I will not lack," or "my finances are being restored," you are speaking life into a situation that may look dead in the natural. Each declaration becomes a seed planted in the spiritual realm, and seeds always grow when nurtured with faith. Your prayers set the stage for miracles by positioning your heart and mind to receive solutions, guidance, and unexpected blessings that may arrive in ways you cannot yet imagine. Prayer in difficult times also builds resilience. It strengthens your spirit and trains you to endure without losing hope. Life may bring delays, setbacks, and obstacles, but persistent prayer keeps your faith alive. It reminds you that temporary lack does not equal permanent defeat. Prayer prepares you to handle blessings wisely when they arrive and gives you the courage to keep moving forward even when the evidence around you seems contrary. Endurance born of prayer is what separates who remain stuck in struggle from those who step into abundance. When you pray, you invite divine wisdom into your life. Hard times can cloud your judgment and make decision-making stressful. But prayer opens your spiritual eyes. It gives clarity in confusion and guidance in uncertainty. You begin to see solutions, opportunities, and strategies that others overlook. What may appear as coincidence or luck is actually divine intervention responding to faith-filled prayer. Your decisions become sharper, your actions more effective, and your steps guided by insight beyond your own understanding. Prayer also purifies your motives and priorities. Hard financial seasons reveal the areas where you have misplaced trust or focused too much on worldly measures. Through prayer, you realign your heart with what truly matters. You learn that wealth is a tool, not a master, and that trusting God as your source is far more powerful than depending solely on human effort. Prayer cultivates gratitude, patience, and perspective, which not only open the door for financial breakthrough, but also prepare you to handle it with integrity and wisdom. Consistency in prayer is crucial. 1 or 2 prayers in desperation are not enough to create lasting change. Daily, persistent, and intentional prayer builds momentum. Each time you speak in faith, you are reinforcing the belief that provision is coming. Repeated prayers act like a rhythm that attracts favor and positions you to recognize opportunities that would otherwise go unnoticed. Consistency also trains your spirit to remain hopeful and steadfast, even when external circumstances suggest otherwise. Prayer has the power to influence not just your own heart, but your environment. When you pray in faith, you create a spiritual atmosphere conducive to favor and opportunity. Doors that seemed permanently closed begin to open. Connections with people who can support your financial turnaround appear. Circumstances start to shift. The unseen world responds to words and faith, moving on your behalf to create pathways for breakthrough. This is why prayer is not passive. It is active spiritual engagement that produces tangible results. Even in the silence or the waiting, prayer continues to work. The absence of immediate results does not mean your prayers are ineffective. Just as seeds lie dormant before they sprout, prayers take time to produce visible outcomes. Each moment of faithful prayer prepares the soil of your life, softens your heart, and positions you to receive the blessing fully when it comes. Patience in prayer strengthens character, deepens faith, and ensures that when provision arrives, you are ready to manage it wisely. Prayer transforms your identity as well as your circumstances. When you consistently turn to God in financial difficulty, you stop seeing yourself as a victim of lack and begin to see yourself as a steward of divine provision. You start to think, speak, and act like someone who expects abundance. This mindset, reinforced through prayer, magnetizes opportunities and resources. It changes your actions, attracts favor, and opens pathways that would remain closed without faith. Through prayer, you step into a new reality where lack no longer defines you, and provision is not a hope but a certainty. When you face financial hardship, it can feel as though every door is closed and every effort is wasted, but this is precisely the moment to engage in prayer with unwavering faith. Prayer is not a passive act. It is a declaration that your circumstances do not control your destiny. It is the acknowledgement that there is a power far greater than debt, bills, or scarcity, and that this power is working on your behalf even when you cannot see it. Each prayer you utter sends a signal to the unseen realm, activating divine intervention and opening doors that human hands cannot open. Prayer positions you to receive provision, guidance, and opportunities that the natural mind cannot conceive, turning impossible situations into breakthroughs. Faith-filled prayer shifts your perspective from lack to possibility. When you focus on numbers, balances, and bills, it is easy to become discouraged. But prayer elevates your vision to see beyond the immediate struggle. You begin to understand that resources are not limited to what you can earn, borrow, or save. There is a supernatural supply available when you align your words, thoughts, and actions with divine authority. Prayer allows you to perceive opportunities, ideas, and solutions that others overlook because they are focused solely on what is visible. Through prayer, your mind is trained to anticipate favor rather than fear failure, and every declaration you make becomes a seed of future increase. Words spoken in faith carry power to create change. When you declare, "I will not lack," or "provision is coming," you are speaking life into your financial reality. These declarations are not mere affirmations. They are spiritual commands that begin to rearrange circumstances in the unseen realm. Faith-filled prayer builds momentum over time, and the consistent repetition of powerful words reinforces your belief, transforms your mindset, and aligns your actions with the promises you are claiming. Every prayer becomes a creative act, establishing the conditions necessary for your breakthrough to manifest in the physical world. Prayer builds resilience during seasons of struggle. When bills pile up and every plan seems to fail, it is easy to succumb to worry, despair, or fear, but consistent prayer strengthens your spirit. It teaches endurance, patience, and unwavering trust in divine timing. Waiting in prayer is not passive, it is preparation. You are cultivating faith, sharpening your discernment, and developing the mental and emotional stamina to handle provision when it arrives. The more you practice praying in hard times, the more your heart becomes anchored in confidence rather than panic, and your faith grows stronger than any circumstance. Prayer sharpens your discernment and invites divine wisdom into your life. Hard times often cloud judgment and make decision-making overwhelming, but prayer opens your spiritual eyes to clarity and understanding. Through prayer, ideas, solutions, and strategies that appear impossible in the natural suddenly become evident. What may seem like coincidence is often the result of divine alignment responding to your faith-filled declarations. Prayer positions you to recognize opportunities, take the right steps, and make decisions that accelerate your financial turnaround, ensuring that your breakthrough is guided by wisdom rather than chance. Prayer also aligns your priorities with what truly matters. Financial struggles expose misplaced trust, greed, or reliance on temporary sources, but through prayer, you recalibrate your focus toward the eternal and the purposeful. You begin to understand that money is a tool, not a master, and that trusting God as your source is the foundation of true provision. Prayer nurtures gratitude, contentment, and perspective, which create fertile ground for supernatural increase. When your heart and mind are aligned through prayer, you not only invite financial blessing, but also cultivate the character and wisdom needed to steward it responsibly. Consistency in prayer multiplies its power. A single prayer may offer comfort, but persistent, intentional prayer builds spiritual momentum that cannot be ignored. Daily declarations of faith reinforce belief, shape your mindset, and attract divine favor. Each prayer becomes a layer in the structure of your future breakthrough. Consistent prayer transforms your attitude, instills confidence, and conditions your spirit to respond to opportunities instead of obstacles. Over time, the repetition of words spoken in faith creates a reality where scarcity is replaced with abundance, fear is replaced with confidence, and limitation is replaced with possibility. Prayer influences both your inner life and your external environment. When you pray with authority, the atmosphere around you begins to shift. Doors that seem permanently closed start to open. Relationships, connections, and opportunities appear and were previously unseen. Circumstances that felt immovable begin to yield. The unseen world responds to words spoken in faith, and prayer becomes an active force that rearranges natural realities. Your consistent faith-filled communication draws provision, wisdom, and guidance directly into your life, creating pathways for your financial breakthrough. Even when the results of prayer are not immediately visible, prayer continues to work. Just as seeds lie dormant before sprouting, prayers often remain unseen until the moment of manifestation. Waiting in faith strengthens character, patience, and trust, ensuring that when blessings arrive, you are fully prepared to receive them. Each faithful moment in prayer cultivates readiness, resilience, and clarity, positioning you for maximum impact when opportunity meets preparation. Prayer in the unseen realm always precedes visible change. and persistence ensures that you do not miss your breakthrough. Prayer transforms your identity as well as your circumstances. When you consistently engage in faith-filled prayer, you stop seeing yourself as a victim of lack and begin to see yourself as a steward of divine provision. Your mindset shifts, your words change, and your actions align with the reality of abundance. This transformation attracts favor, multiplies opportunities, and magnetizes resources toward you. Through persistent prayer, you step into a new life where scarcity no longer defines your experience, and financial provision is not a hope, but a certainty, grounded in faith and reinforced by consistent declaration. When financial pressure surrounds you and every plan seems to fail, prayer becomes your strongest ally. It is not a sign of weakness or desperation. It is the demonstration of faith that your circumstances do not have the final say. Prayer is the channel through which divine provision flows, connecting your present need with God's unlimited resources. Each time you pray, you are not merely speaking words. You are issuing commands in faith that engage heaven to work on your behalf. Prayer positions you to receive solutions, guidance, and unexpected blessings that the natural mind cannot see, preparing the ground for financial turnaround in ways that human effort alone cannot achieve. Faith-filled prayer transforms your perspective from despair to expectation. When the bills pile high and your accounts seem empty, prayer elevates your vision to see opportunities and resources beyond your current reality. It teaches you to focus on what can be rather than what appears impossible. Through prayer, your mind begins to recognize avenues of increase that were hidden in plain sight. Your declarations of faith begin to shape your thinking, attracting favor, insight, and provision that move faster than your natural efforts. The simple act of lifting your voice in prayer creates an invisible pathway for divine intervention that changes your financial circumstances. Prayer also gives power to your words. Speaking in faith is not merely positive thinking. It is the act of calling the unseen into manifestation. When you declare, "I will not lack," or "my finances are being restored," you are planting seeds of increase in the spiritual realm. Each faithful declaration sets forces in motion that align your actions, opportunities, and decisions with the provision that is coming. Words spoken in faith become a magnet for favor, opening doors that were previously closed and activating strategies that were waiting for your trust to engage them. Prayer builds momentum and brings breakthroughs that defy human logic. Consistent prayer cultivates resilience. Hard times test patience and endurance, but persistent prayer strengthens your spirit and keeps your hope alive. It teaches you to endure delays without despair and to trust that every season of struggle is preparing you for a greater blessing. Waiting in prayer is not passive, it is preparation. Your spirit is refined, your priorities clarified, and your understanding deepened as you remain faithful. Each moment of sincere prayer equips you to handle the provision that is on the way with wisdom and gratitude, ensuring that your breakthrough is sustainable and aligned with divine timing. Prayer opens the doors to divine wisdom and guidance. Financial challenges can cloud judgment and lead to poor decisions, But prayer illuminates the path ahead through consistent communication with God, ideas, solutions, and opportunities that were previously unseen become clear. What may appear to be coincidence is often divine alignment, responding to the faith and declarations of the believer. Prayer positions you to act decisively, to recognize the right steps, and to capitalize on opportunities that accelerate your financial recovery, ensuring that your actions are in harmony with supernatural direction. Prayer refines your priorities and strengthens your character. Financial hardship often exposes areas where reliance on money or human effort has become a substitute for faith. Through prayer, you realign your focus toward what truly matters, understanding that money is a tool, not a master, and that your ultimate security comes from divine provision. Prayer nurtures gratitude, patience, and contentment, which not only attract provision, but also prepare you to steward it responsibly. When your heart and mind are aligned through prayer, your financial life begins to shift in ways that cannot be achieved by effort alone. Consistency in prayer multiplies its impact. A single prayer may bring comfort, but repeated, intentional prayer builds spiritual momentum that transforms both mindset and circumstance. Each faithful declaration reinforces belief, strengthens resolve, and attracts divine favor. Over time, consistent prayer reshapes your inner world, replacing fear with confidence, limitation with possibility, and doubt with expectation. The repetition of words spoken in faith strengthens your connection to provision and ensures that you remain steadfast even when results are delayed. Prayer influences both your internal state and your external environment. When you pray with authority and confidence, your spiritual atmosphere shifts. Opportunities appear, resources align, and connections form in ways that seem miraculous to the natural eye. Circumstances that seemed immovable begin to change. The unseen world responds to persistent prayer, and provision begins to flow toward you. Prayer is active, not passive. It sets in motion the conditions necessary for miracles, aligning your actions and your environment with divine timing. Even when the results of prayer are not immediately visible, prayer continues to work. Just as seeds germinate beneath the soil before they sprout, prayers take time to manifest in the natural realm. Waiting in faith strengthens patience, trust, and resilience, ensuring that you are fully prepared to receive blessings when they arrive. Each moment spent in prayer cultivates readiness and positions you to recognize and utilize the breakthrough effectively. Prayer is always working in the unseen, shaping circumstances, attitudes, and opportunities until manifestation occurs. Prayer transforms your identity and your reality. When you consistently engage in faith-filled prayer, you stop seeing yourself as a victim of lack and begin to see yourself as a steward of divine provision. Your mindset shifts from scarcity to expectation. Your words reflect confidence, and your actions align with abundance. This transformation magnetizes resources, attracts favor, and positions you to receive provision in ways that natural effort alone cannot achieve. Prayer reshapes your life from one defined by financial struggle to one marked by opportunity, increase, and unwavering faith. When financial hardship presses heavily upon your life, It can feel as if every door is closed and every effort is in vain. But prayer is the key that opens what seems impossible. Prayer is not a sign of weakness or despair. It is the expression of faith that your circumstances do not have the final word. It is the conduit through which divine provision flows, connecting your present need with limitless resources beyond human comprehension. Each time you pray, you are not just uttering words, you are activating forces in the unseen realm that begin to rearrange your situation. Prayer positions you to receive guidance, opportunities, and breakthroughs that logic cannot produce, and it prepares the soil for financial increase in ways that effort alone cannot achieve. Faith-filled prayer changes the way you see your lack. When you focus only on bills, debts, or an empty account, your mind can grow heavy with worry. But prayer shifts your focus from scarcity to possibility. It trains you to anticipate divine solutions rather than despair. Opportunities, ideas, and unexpected blessings become visible to you as you seek guidance through prayer. Prayer reminds you that money and provision are not confined to the natural. There is an unlimited supply when your heart and mind are aligned with faith. What you plant in the spiritual realm through consistent prayer begins to bear fruit in the natural world. Words spoken in faith carry the power to create change. When you declare, "I will not lack," or "my finances are being restored," you are issuing spiritual commands that begin to shift your reality. These declarations are seeds planted in the unseen, and seeds always grow when nurtured with consistent faith. Prayer builds momentum over time, reinforcing your belief, shaping your mindset, and aligning your actions with the increase you are seeking. Every prayer becomes a creative act, inviting divine intervention, opening doors that seemed closed, and drawing opportunities to you that you could never engineer on your own. Prayer builds endurance and strengthens your spirit during times of struggle. When challenges seem relentless and every attempt to improve your circumstances fails, prayer teaches you to persevere. Waiting in faith is not passive, it is preparation. Your heart grows stronger, your focus sharper, and your perspective clearer. Each faithful moment spent in prayer cultivates resilience, allowing you to remain confident and steadfast while provisions are being arranged. Prayer equips you to handle the blessing when it arrives with wisdom and gratitude, ensuring that your breakthrough is sustainable and aligned with divine timing. Prayer illuminates the path of wisdom and guidance. Financial hardship can cloud judgment and make decision-making feel overwhelming, but prayer opens spiritual insight. Through communication with God, ideas, solutions, and opportunities previously unseen become clear. What may appear to be coincidence is often divine alignment responding to your faith-filled declarations. Prayer positions you to act decisively, to recognize the right steps, and to take advantage of opportunities that accelerate your financial recovery. This ensures that your actions are guided by wisdom rather than desperation, and that your breakthrough is lasting. Prayer aligns your priorities and refines your character. Financial challenges often reveal where trust has been misplaced or reliance has been put in temporary sources. But through prayer, your focus returns to what is eternal. Money is revealed as a tool, not a master. And trusting God as your ultimate source becomes the foundation for lasting provision. Prayer cultivates patience, gratitude, and integrity, which not only attract blessings, but also prepare you to manage them wisely. When your heart is aligned through prayer, your financial circumstances begin to shift in ways that are harmonious with divine principles, and opportunities begin to flow in ways that natural effort cannot produce. Consistency in prayer multiplies its effect. One prayer may offer comfort, but repeated, intentional prayer builds momentum that reshapes both mind and circumstance. Each declaration of faith strengthens belief, reinforces resolve, and attracts favor. Persistent prayer transforms your inner world, replacing doubt with confidence, limitation with possibility, and fear with expectation. Over time, repeated prayers shape the way you think, speak, and act, creating an environment where financial increase is inevitable. Faith expressed through prayer produces results that accumulate and compound, preparing the way for significant breakthroughs. Prayer affects not just your internal state, but also your environment. When you pray with confidence and authority, the spiritual atmosphere around you shifts. Opportunities appear, connections are established, and circumstances begin to move in your favor. Seemingly immovable challenges yield to divine intervention. Prayer is not passive, it is active engagement with spiritual forces that brings change into the natural world. By speaking in faith and remaining persistent, you align yourself with provision, favor, and guidance that move faster than any human strategy could. Even when immediate results are not visible, prayer continues to work. Like seeds buried in the soil, prayers germinate unseen before they sprout into tangible change. Waiting in faith strengthens your patience, trust, and readiness, ensuring that you are prepared to receive provision when it manifests. Each moment of prayer cultivates insight, resilience, and alignment with divine timing. The unseen realm responds to faithful declarations, and although the results may not be instant, every faithful prayer contributes to the eventual harvest of blessing and increase in your life. Prayer transforms your identity as much as your circumstances. When you consistently engage in faith-filled prayer, you stop seeing yourself as a victim of financial hardship and begin to see yourself as a steward of divine provision. Your mindset shifts from scarcity to expectation. Your words reflect confidence, and your actions align with abundance. This transformation attracts favor, multiplies opportunities, and draws resources toward you. Through persistent prayer, you enter a new reality where financial struggle no longer defines you, and provision is not a hope, but a certainty flowing from faith, alignment, and unwavering trust in divine supply.